All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. This video here is one that I've actually been meaning to do for a few days now, but I kept either running into narratives I was hearing, comments and whatnot, and I took a request for the one yesterday. But this one here is something that's just bugged me. This isn't necessarily a narrative, but why I hear a lot, and it seems to primarily be people that are definitely younger than me. I would say in their 30s, maybe early 40s, somewhere around there. And all they want to do is compare Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James, as if those are definitively the three best players who have ever played. And believe me, they're not. Jordan, sure, I think he's the best ever. But no, Kobe is not second or third, or LeBron is not second or third. That's just not realistic. I mean, I know Scap Attack feels really strong about Kobe. That's his guy and all that. But no, Kobe is just not. LeBron, it's definitely not. And for me, all the GOAT talk ended in 2011 for both players. That season did it. It was over for both. Kobe was vying for a three-peat. He had won 2 in a row. And if he could have got a three-peat without Shaq, there would have been possibly some validity to it. You could look at it that, one of the three-peats, he had Shaq, blah, blah, blah. But, to do that, to match Jordan, there would be maybe something now on the table that would be legitimate, even though Jordan has, way more scoring titles, never getting upset, all those kind of things. Absolutely. But, it would then be a legitimate conversation. There is no GOAT conversation. It's just in people's own minds, either being brainwashed by the media or, it's something they want to be. They want it to be that way, but the facts and the evidence just don't support it. There's just no basis to start either one of these guys to be in the conversation. It's just, I don't even understand where their jumping off point is. But anyway, 2011, the infamous season that ended both GOAT talks for both players. And LeBron James, it ended for another reason, because in 2009, he had the best record in the NBA. Now, people can argue about he didn't have enough superstars on his team or whatever. They were the number one net rated team, far and away the best team in the league all year, sweeping the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. And then they got beat pretty handily by Orlando in the conference finals without Jameer Nelson. So that was a big blow to LeBron. Maybe not, not the nail in the coffin, but it was a blow. And then come right back in 2010, have the best record in the NBA again, and get beat this time in the semifinals. And then he joins Miami in 2011. Finally, LeBron, he's got the super team. They make pretty short work in the first 2 rounds. And then in the conference finals, they're going up against Chicago. Pretty formidable defensive team, has the league MVP. They beat them in 5 games. It looks like, okay, finally, LeBron's going to get his championship. They play Dallas. And Dallas gives up a 2-1 lead to Miami. And LeBron just totally craps the bed. And one of the biggest, if not the biggest meltdown in NBA history by a superstar. And that was 3 consecutive seasons where he disappointed big time. And whatever he did after that, that's all fine and good. But that chunk of time is never going to be erased. But 2011 was the final nail in LeBron James's coffin. Anything you want to bring up, you can never shake what happened in those 3 seasons. But 2011 was the final nail in the coffin, and there's just no way around it. It was all on LeBron in that finals, no doubt about it. And it was the same thing for Kobe. You know what I mean? They got swept. and they're the two-time defending champions going for a three-peat. That was a blow to Kobe as well. 2004 against the Pistons, sure, that was definitely a blow, but this one here was pretty bad, getting swept the way they did, and they got blown out by, I think, 36 points in the final game. I mean, it was not good. I think his game score was like 3.4. I mean, just not good. That's just not gonna hold up against Michael Jordan. I'm sorry. It's just not. I mean, this guy brings a damn near flawless resume, period. Anyway, I'm going to get into the crux of the video. So first of all, I've heard the moron, the idiot, the scumbag, Nick Wright, say, now he said this before the Lakers played Miami in 2020, but he tried to say that every one of LeBron James' finals competition was better than Michael Jordan's finals competition. First of all, there's no way to even prove that. If you go by record, no. Michael Jordan's competition was better. If you're going by top 75 players, from what I remember, it was a tie. They each averaged 1.5 per team, whatever. I don't even know what you go by, okay? But let me tell you, this 2011 Dallas team was not better than every one of Michael Jordan's finals competition. Far from it. And I'll show you. Okay, so the Mavericks, in the first round, they played Portland. 48-34 team. Pretty good. Now, there was 8 teams in the East that were under, I think they were 38 wins or less. Okay? That's more than half the conference. So you can really rack up some wins, some easy wins against some bad East teams. There was only 4 teams in the conference with over 44 wins in the East. So if you're a pretty good team, you're gonna shred the East. You really only have 8 tough games since you play them twice in the whole thing. So you would play 22 games against teams with records of 44 wins or less, and 8 wins of teams over 44 wins. That's it. I mean, that's why a lot of these West teams had bloated, inflated records. It's not their fault. I'm not saying they were bad or anything, but why they were, typically there was more, 50-win teams, that kind of thing, than the East had, just because they were just, it was just easy pickings. Now, the East, also the top teams, the same thing, maybe even more so because they played them more. So it made their records look better than they really were. I think Orlando won 52 games that year. They got beat in the first round by 44-win Atlanta. So, whatever. But anyway, in the first round, Dallas plays Portland. They beat them in 6. They're a decent team. They got LaMarcus Aldridge. They got, I think Batum, Wesley Matthews. Not bad. Pretty good team. People bring up, they had Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy didn't even start in that series, and he was averaging under 10 points a game. He was pretty much finished at that point. I think it might even have been his last series. So anyway, they beat them in 6. They move on. They play the Lakers. Now, before playing the Western Conference semifinals, Dallas was 35-19. All right? So that's pretty good, pretty good record. And even closer, they were 16-11. So they're not like red hot, okay? Like the implication I've heard from Nick Wright. They were just a hot team, hot run, all that. Well, not super hot, but yeah, I mean, they were on their way, you could say. But anyway, the Lakers got swept. Now, this is a team that's 57-25. That's the same record as the year before when they won the championship. And the year before, they were the 6th net-rated team. This year, in 2011, they're the 3rd net-rated team. So actually a little bit better. They just didn't play good. That's simple. They got beat. Anyway, and I'm going to get into that in a second. The Western Conference Finals, OKC, they beat them in 5 games. Now, if you're a LeBron supporter or Nick Wright, what you're going to say is, they had Westbrook and they had Durant and Harden, 3 future MVPs. That's what they're going to say. They were 55-27. That's a pretty solid record. Good team, right? Okay. Well, here's the issue. First of all, OKC was the 4 seed, all right? They didn't play the 1 seed. The 1 seed was San Antonio. San Antonio was like a 61-21 team. They were the best team in the West. But they got upset by 8-seeded Memphis. That's unexpected, you could say. If San Antonio beats Memphis, Dallas's run probably doesn't even happen. So OKC, a very inexperienced team, whatever, they play Memphis in the semifinals, okay? So Memphis is the 8, OKC's the 4 seed. Well, OKC needs 7 games just to beat the 8 seed Memphis. They do win it, but they're not ready for a team of Dallas's experience, and it showed. And they beat them in 5 games. So Dallas, yeah, they have a 12-3 record, which, on paper, that looks great. But Dallas is a 57-win team. They're no pushover. Well, they have a 9-win differential to Portland, the same record as the Lakers, and a 2-win better than OKC. So there was no team they beat that was better than they were, really, record-wise or team-wise. So then they get to the finals and they play Miami. Now, Miami was hot. They just beat Chicago, a really good team. That was a great win by Miami, no doubt about it. LeBron played well. Dwayne Wade, Bosh, all those guys, they played really well, surprisingly well against such a strong team. So they get to the finals. They have this 2-1 lead. Now, we all know the story. I know. So they're up 2-1. So a critical game in Game 4, if you really want to, put your boot on their neck and take a stranglehold in the series, that would be the game to do it. Game 4, you would pretty much crush all hope. The white would go out of the white would go out of their eyes. But unfortunately, in Game 4, LeBron James scores 8 points on 3 for 11 shooting. Can you believe it? So that was critical, and he couldn't stop Jason Terry either. But that was critical why that happened. So then in Game 5, the last game in Dallas, okay, Game 6 and 7 are in Miami. Well, Game 5, LeBron comes back, plays a little bit better game, but he only gives you 17 points on 8 of 19 shooting. And they lose that game and lose Game 6 as well. And that's it. And they blow a 2-1 lead and get upset. Okay, so in these playoff runs, let's start with Kobe Bryant, because I've heard Scap Attack do a video on this, say, oh, well, the supporting cast just didn't play good enough, and, it can't be Kobe's fault, you know what I mean? Kobe didn't play that good either, and I think he said something about, oh, he had, an injury or something. It's like, man, everybody's beat up. I was just watching all the endings to a lot of those Bulls games, and it's like, yeah, well, Michael Jordan had a wrist injury. Michael Jordan had an ankle injury. Michael Jordan had a toe injury that they had to cut the top of his shoe to let his toe breathe. I mean, just in those few, 10 or 12 games I was watching, the last 2 minutes of, that was all said in those series. It's crazy. But anyway, so Kobe Bryant, here's what he had in the playoffs. So it'd be the 2 series, first and second round. He had Andrew Bynum giving you 14.4 points on 54% shooting. Now, granted, the points isn't that high, but, still pretty productive. Pau Gasol's giving you 13.1 on 42% shooting. Meh. Lamar Odom, 12.1 on 45.9. And Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, whatever, 10.6 points per game on 44.3% shooting. Now, none of that is, great, but it looks like these guys, you're getting double-figure production from your other 4 starters. That's not terrible. You know what I mean? Is it possible that Kobe just, was fading? And in 2013, he won his last playoff game series. He won one more series after 2011. That was in 2012. That's it for Kobe's career. He was pretty much done. I mean, he just was. His body did break down a little bit and all that, no doubt, but he was pretty much done. That's why I said, 2011 was it. That was it for the GOAT talks for Kobe. It was over right on the spot. They still had Phil Jackson. He was still coaching. When it's Michael Jordan, it's, they had Phil Jackson, legendary coach. Guy they came out of the CBA to learn Tex Winter's offense, legendary coach. I mean, God, people are so stupid with that stuff. But anyway, so these numbers as a whole really aren't that bad. But again, you ask a diehard Kobe fan, they're gonna tell you, he didn't have a lot of help, whatever. Okay, the Heat in the playoffs, LeBron James's top two teammates, Dwayne Wade is giving him 24.5 points per game on 48.5% shooting. That is really good. I mean, that's great. I mean, that's first team All-NBA good. And then for his number 3 guy, you got Chris Bosh giving you 18.6 points per game on 47.4% shooting. That's excellent. He's getting awesome production from his two teammates, his top 2 scoring teammates. Great. All right, now here is where the separator for Michael Jordan to these two players is. It's really this simple. Okay, so Nick Wright thinks that the 2011 Dallas Mavericks were better than any team Jordan played in the finals. So that would include the 1997 Utah Jazz. Okay, let's get into that. So in 1997, the Utah Jazz, they were 64-18. Okay, so they're 7 games better than Dallas. So going by record, they're a much better team. All right, so whatever the reason is, blah blah blah. No, they're not. Okay, fine, whatever. The first round, Utah played the Clippers. They were a 36-win team. No big deal at all. Okay, they swept them in 3 games. Whatever. They played the Lakers in the next round. They were 56-26. Well, that's not so different from the 57-25 Lakers in 2011 that Dallas played. But this Lakers team had Shaq, prime Shaq. Kobe was a rookie. They had Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel. They had a pretty good supporting cast. I mean, they won 56 games. Pretty good team. The Jazz beat them in 5, okay? Then in the conference finals, they beat Houston 4-2, a 57-25 team. That team was strong. They just got Charles Barkley. Now, they had Drexler. Drexler and Olajuwon, they're only 2 years removed from winning the championship, okay? They're 34 years old, both of them. Hakeem Olajuwon is first team All-NBA. So if you know the late 90s well, you know how hard it would be to be first team All-NBA at the center position in 1997, especially for a 34-year-old Olajuwon. You got Shaquille O'Neal in his prime. You got David Robinson in his prime. Okay, and you have guys like Alonzo Mourning and Dikembe Mutombo and Patrick Ewing, probably, just outside his prime, but still. To be first team All-NBA, that's something special. He was 7th for MVP. Barkley, Drexler, Olajuwon, all 3 were All-Stars. Okay, they were no older than Stockton and Malone were, who they played. And they beat Houston in 6 games. That was incredible. So after they beat that series, Utah, right before the finals, was 46-8 going into the finals. Now that's a hot freaking team. Now Dallas was 41-13 before the finals. They were pretty hot too. But this team was definitely hotter. But either way, let's just say they're both evenly hot. Even though Utah was hotter, doesn't matter. Let's just call it even. Here's the difference. How did Michael Jordan and the Bulls deal with a hot team? Well, the Bulls won the first 2 games, and then Utah won the next 2 games. So it's tied 2-2. This is a tough series. Well, like I said, in Game 4, LeBron James, in a critical game, gives you 8 points on 3 for 11. In Game 5, he gives you 17 on 8 for 19 shooting. In games you got to have. And like I said, Kobe in the last game had a game score of 3.4. Pretty bad. Michael Jordan in Game 5, critical game. He goes for 38 points on 13 for 27 shooting. That's the flu game right there. That's why Michael Jordan is above these two players, and it's not close. These are the exact reasons right here. 2011 is what did in both Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. They were both done for any GOAT talk ever again after that season. Now, people want to keep it going, have something to talk about. That's fine. But the reality is there's no case after 2011 for either player that destroyed Kobe's three-peat. And actually, it turns out it killed LeBron's three-peat too, because he won it in 12 and 13. But in 2011, he had a chance to, win 3 in a row, but he didn't. And also, I know in 2014, but I mean, that was even a bigger joke than 2011. So, one thing to keep in mind about this 2011 Dallas team. Now, they were good. They had depth and they had experience, but they didn't have a bunch of marquee prime players. I mean, let's face it, Sean Marion, Peja Stojakovic, Jason Kidd, Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Terry, they're all past their prime. I'm not saying they're all washed, no, but they're past their prime years. No question about it. Players like J.J. Barea, Tyson Chandler, they probably were in their prime. Deshaun Stevenson, maybe a little bit, whatever. Okay, maybe that's true. But Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki never won another playoff series after winning the championship in 2011. Never happened. He never won again. Not one playoff series. So this was just a situation, to me, that Dallas beat Portland. It was just, a superior team to them. They beat the Lakers, who actually needed 6 games to get out of the first round. I think it was against New Orleans, but you might want to fact check me on that. I thought it was New Orleans. The Lakers needed 6 to get out of that. And then the next year in 2012 in the first round, and I think they won like around the same number of games with a different coach even. I think there was like 55 or whatever it was. I think it was the equivalent of, actually. It was the strike-shortened year. But they were pretty much just as good, at least in the regular season. Kobe got hurt. He couldn't, he did play in 2012. They won one more series, and they won it in 7 games. The Lakers were just on their way down. That's just what happened to them. They were done. So Dallas beats a team that is on the descend in the Lakers. They beat a very inexperienced OKC team in 2011, who somehow avoided playing San Antonio. Because like I said, if San Antonio gets by Memphis, they're definitely beating OKC, and they're going to probably beat Dallas, and Dallas's run never happens. But, so in this one here, the Miami one, Miami had it. They were the better team. In the first 3 games, they proved it. They were the better team. No doubt about it. And then LeBron James just fell apart. And, that can't happen. I mean, a guy like that, now he did learn from it. He was more assertive, but Dwayne Wade had to make adjustments to his game, playing off ball, whatever. But it was pretty much all on LeBron in 2011. I don't know how anybody would say it wasn't. You're getting 24.5 points from Dwayne Wade at 48.5%. Bosh is giving you 18.6 points per game on 47.4% shooting. Now, here's what Michael Jordan was getting in the playoffs in 1997. He was getting from Scottie, this is his top 2 scores. Scottie Pippen is giving him 19.2 points on 41.7% shooting. Meh. The number 3 scorer on the Bulls for the entire 1997 playoffs was none other than Hall of Famer Tony Kukoc. All right. He was giving you 7.9 points per game on 36% shooting. So you tell me who had more pressure on them in a tough series, okay? Do you think it was Kobe, who was getting 14.4, 13.1, 12.1, 10.6, all double figures in here from guys that are all 4 shooting better than either one of Jordan's teammates? Or how about LeBron? He's getting almost 25 points a game out of Dwayne Wade on 48.5% shooting. Or Bosh is basically matching Pippen on better shooting. He's about a half a point behind Pippen on 5.5% better shooting. And he's got Dwayne Wade. You tell me who had more pressure on them to carry the team. Of course it was Jordan. And Jordan comes through. He doesn't put up game scores of 3.4. He doesn't score 8 points in a game that was a critical game on 3 for 11 shooting. No, he goes 38 points on 13 for 27. That's the separator. And Utah was better than the 2011 Mavericks. I don't care what anybody says. The 97 Jazz were a great team. The 98 Jazz were pretty much just as good. Karl Malone won the MVP. The 98 Jazz beat better teams in the playoffs, even better than the 97. But I think the 97 Jazz were a little better, though. They just were. They were a better team, the whole thing. So, again, I don't understand this narrative that, not really, it's not a narrative, I guess, but why all anybody ever wants to talk about is Jordan versus Kobe versus LeBron. I hear it all the time on other YouTube channels. I hear it on big media sometimes. Like, no, there are better players than that. I know they're all wing players. They're all, pretty much from the modern era and all that stuff. But there's players in the modern era that are better, at least better than LeBron James. But anyway, yeah, I just shake my head at this stuff. But 2011, that's what did it in. All GOAT talks ended for both these players right then and there. So anything you guys want to talk about after that, I mean, it's whatever. You know what I mean? Kobe Bryant is a great player, no doubt about it. He learned a lot from Michael Jordan. He played his game a lot like Michael Jordan. He just wasn't Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was on another level, period. From Kobe, from anybody. Kobe wasn't right there. No. Kevin Durant saying, he's not even second. They're just like right here. No, he's not. I'm sorry. He's just not. And LeBron James, no. After 09, 10, 11, but 11 was the nail in the coffin. It was over on the spot. No more GOAT talk. Anything else is just something to, stir the pot for ratings on big media. That's all it is. Because there is no way. I mean, right here, he ain't no GOAT. So, anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. And that's it for now.